The entire hunting industry has been brainwashed into believing that European craftsmanship is the untouchable gold standard for precision, and it is costing average guys thousands of hard-earned dollars on proprietary systems that restrict you to their wildly expensive components. Look, I know the purists love their German engineering, but the reality in the American backcountry is completely different when you are hauling heavy gear up a jagged ridge. The truth is, domestic manufacturers have silently dismantled that monopoly using aerospace-grade titanium and modular platforms perfectly balanced for traditional day optics to sling heavy rounds like .308 and 6.5 Creedmoor with absolute surgical precision. Today we are tearing down the 7 American hunting rifles that leave the best of Europe in the dirt, so you better lock in. Kicking things off at number 7, the Ruger American Gen 2. For a long time, the budget rifle category was overflowing with watered-down European imports that gave you cheap plastic and thin blued steel. Ruger stepped up and completely shattered that standard. They proved you do not have to drain your bank account to get custom-tier features built right here at home. Under the hood, this rifle runs a solid machined bolt featuring a 70-degree throw. Let me tell you exactly why that matters. Traditional 90-degree bolts force your hand to scrape against the ocular bell of those large traditional day optics. But that shorter throw gives you massive clearance to cycle the action lightning fast. Out front, you get a 20-inch cold hammer forged barrel with deep spiral fluting, which cuts unnecessary ounces while increasing the outside surface area so the steel cools down incredibly fast. Squeezing the Ruger marksman trigger is highly satisfying. It is adjustable, and when you dial it down to 3 pounds, it snaps like stepping on a brittle pine cone. When you are slinging heavy rounds like .308 Winchester or 6.5 Creedmoor downrange, the recoil feels more like a gentle shove instead of a violent punch. That factory-installed radial muzzle brake, threaded at 5/8 by 24, keeps the muzzle completely flat. Look, here is the deal breaker. The factory synthetic stock is rigid enough for field work, but the surface texture and overall feel still scream entry-level, giving you a slightly hollow vibe when you tap on the forend. You will immediately notice the downgrade if you are used to premium fiberglass or carbon setups. The entry fee for this piece of American engineering is roughly $800. It is a relentless workhorse, but we are just scratching the surface. Stepping up the game to number 6, the Savage Impulse. For decades, straight-pull actions were an expensive European fantasy, built for driven boar hunts and locked behind massive paywalls. Savage brought that lightning-fast cycling to the American woods. They proved you do not need a foreign passport to shoot fast. The magic happens inside the action with their hex-lock mechanism. Instead of relying on traditional rotating steel lugs, this system uses a plunger to force stainless steel bearings outward into a machined recess inside the barrel extension. Why does this matter? As chamber pressure spikes during cartridge ignition, the rearward force actually wedges those ball bearings tighter into their grooves for an incredibly secure lockup. Because you only pull straight back and push forward, your eye stays glued to your traditional day optic. You never lose your sight picture, which is absolutely critical when you are tracking a moving target. Dropping the hammer is highly predictable. The AccuTrigger features a brake that feels like snapping a crisp celery stalk. It feeds on heavy hitters like the .300 Winchester Magnum or .30-06 Springfield. When you touch off those big rounds, the recoil is surprisingly stiff, kicking like a startled mule. But the pure speed of that straight pull means you can chamber a follow-up shot in a fraction of a second. Now we have to talk about the downside. The complexity of that straight pull mechanism adds undeniable bulk to the receiver, making this rifle noticeably heavy when you are hiking up a steep alpine ridge. Lugging this dead weight gets old really fast. Snagging one of these sets you back roughly $1,400. I know the traditional turnbolt fanboys are going to hate this straight pull concept. Sound off below if you trust this fast action rig, or if you think it is just a passing trend. Entering the elite tier at number 5, the Weatherby Mark V Backcountry Capra. When you are hunting in steep, rugged country, every single ounce feels like a heavy pound by the end of the day. European manufacturers have historically struggled to build a true ultralight rifle without sacrificing structural rigidity. Weatherby completely destroyed the weight barrier here, delivering a platform that tips the scales at a mind-blowing 4 pounds. The secret under the hood is a receiver machined entirely from aerospace-grade titanium. Titanium provides an incredible strength-to-weight ratio, but raw titanium is prone to galling, which is a nasty process where metal friction causes microscopic tearing and binding. Weatherby solves this by treating the metal with a highly lubricated graphite black Cerakote. This keeps the ultra-short 54-degree bolt throw running slicker than glass, giving you plenty of hand clearance to operate quickly under your traditional day optic. Pulling the TriggerTech Zero Creep trigger is a revelation. It snaps with the crispness of breaking a thin sheet of winter ice. You would naturally expect a 4-pound rifle slinging .308 Winchester to kick like a runaway freight train. Instead, the recoil is heavily mitigated by their exclusive 3D hex recoil pad. It uses an internal honeycomb structure that collapses at a controlled rate to absorb the kinetic energy before it ever reaches your shoulder. But let's talk about the pain point. The financial hurdle on this rig is absolutely brutal. Exotic metals and specialized carbon fiber mean the damage to your wallet is hovering right around $3,400. It is a massive investment for a highly specialized tool. This titanium featherweight is a certified tack driver, but wait until you see the absolute monster sitting at number 1. It takes rugged reliability to an entirely new dimension. Moving on to number 4, the Seekins Precision Havoc Element M3. Coming from a heavy aerospace background, Seekins threw the traditional playbook out the window. They engineered a hybrid architecture that outclasses the best European mountain rifles in both structural innovation and overall weight reduction. The core of this platform is a 70-75 aluminum receiver. Look, aluminum alone cannot safely handle the chamber pressure of modern high-powered cartridges. To solve this, Seekins threaded the barrel into a hardened steel breech bushing housed inside the aluminum receiver. This specific design isolates the extreme combustion pressures entirely within the steel. You end up saving almost a full pound of dead weight while maintaining bomb-proof structural integrity for those long backcountry hikes. Touching off the trigger is incredibly satisfying. It breaks cleanly, snapping like a brittle heavy-duty zip tie. When it eats 6.5 Creedmoor or .308 Winchester for breakfast, the recoil is surprisingly smooth. It delivers a firm but polite push to the shoulder, thanks to the integrated carbon composite stock, soaking up the vibration. Plus, the built-in 20 MOA rail ensures your traditional day optic stays dead zeroed even if you take a hard spill in the rocks. Now we have to address a specific performance quirk. The proprietary magazines can be incredibly finicky if you do not seat them with absolute authority. If you just gently push the mag into the well, you are asking for a nasty feed failure when you rack the bolt in a panic. Street price on this hybrid setup is right around $2,800. It is a technological marvel, but you better train hard on those reloads. Entering the top 3, the Springfield Armory 2020 Waypoint. While overseas companies were dragging their boots on carbon fiber adoption, Springfield dropped this absolute hammer. They perfectly blended the classic footprint of the Remington 700 with cutting-edge composite technology, creating the ultimate crossover platform. The mechanical precision under the hood is insane. Instead of broaching the bolt raceways, a traditional faster machining method that leaves microscopic tool marks behind, Springfield uses wire EDM machining. This advanced process uses a microscopic, electrically charged wire to vaporize the metal with absolute perfection. This ensures the stainless steel bolt travels back and forth flawlessly without any binding, giving you the buttery smoothness you normally only feel on a custom shop action. Touching off the TriggerTech Field Trigger is pure joy. It features zero creep and a break that feels like dropping a heavy steel ball on a thin pane of glass. When it slings 6.5 Creedmoor or 308 Winchester downrange, the recoil is incredibly manageable, feeling like a heavy, smooth glide against your shoulder. The hand-laid carbon fiber stock features an adjustable cheek piece, giving you perfect eye alignment with your traditional day optic. Additionally, the air-gapped carbon barrel design prevents thermal mirage from rising and blurring your sight picture during rapid-fire strings. Here is the reality check on the ergonomics. That steep vertical grip is fantastic when you are shooting prone off a bipod. But if you have to snap shoot offhand at a running target in thick timber, it feels incredibly awkward and forces your wrist into a weird angle. Picking up this piece of hardware sets you back about $2,200. It is a certified tack driver that delivers 0.75 MOA right out of the box. Closer to the crown at number 2, the Savage 110 Ultralight Elite. Historically, there was a massive wall separating standard hunting rifles from precision chassis systems. Chassis setups were considered too cold, too heavy, and too clunky for the deep woods. Savage partnered with MDT to tear down that wall, bringing elite chassis performance directly into the backcountry and making traditional European wood stocks look entirely obsolete. The absolute core of this system is the MDT-HNT26 folding chassis. Instead of heavy aluminum, the inner chassis is machined from a magnesium alloy. Look, magnesium gives you the exact same structural rigidity and bedding stability as aluminum, but it cuts the weight down drastically. With a push of a single button, the stock folds flush to the side, allowing you to completely bury the rifle inside a standard alpine pack. This protects your traditional day optic during technical climbs and prevents the muzzle from snagging on low-hanging branches. The factory AccuTrigger is dialed in perfectly, breaking cleanly at 1.5 pounds and snapping with the violent crispness of a heavy-duty rat trap. Because it runs an 18-inch proof research-cut rifled barrel, it balances brilliantly. Even when you are slinging heavy 300 Winchester short magnum rounds downrange with a 7-inch titanium suppressor attached, the recoil is beautifully muted, delivering a dull, heavy thud to your shoulder without throwing off your center of gravity. Now we have to talk about the flaw. The skeletonized carbon fiber grip looks incredibly aggressive, but the second your hands get soaked in freezing rain or slick with mud, it turns into an absolute slip and slide. You will definitely want to wrap it in grip tape if you hunt in nasty weather. Dropping cash on this folding masterpiece will set you back around $3,300. It represents the absolute pinnacle of modular hunting technology, setting the stage for our final contender. Taking the throne at number 1, the Winchester Model 70 Extreme Weather SS. While the other platforms on this list push the absolute boundaries of aerospace composites, Winchester proved that perfecting a timeless design will always reign supreme. This is the rebirth of the classic rifleman's rifle, blending pre-1964 mechanics with 21st century weather durability to claim the absolute top spot. It earns the crown because it gives you the bomb-proof structural integrity of the Seekins at number 4, but with an aggressive extraction system that puts the push-feed designs of the Ruger and Springfield to absolute shame. This rig uses controlled round feed. The exact millisecond a cartridge leaves the internal magazine, a massive non-rotating Mauser claw grips the case rim tightly against the bolt face. Why does that matter? Because whether you are hanging upside down in a snowbank or covered in thick mud, it guarantees the round enters the chamber and ejects with aggressive force, eliminating the double feed jams common in standard push-feed rifles. The MOA trigger system is absolutely flawless. It brakes with zero over travel, snapping like a thick icicle, breaking off a frozen cabin gutter. When it eats heavy hitters like 300 Winchester Magnum or 30-06 Springfield for breakfast, the recoil is firm but evenly distributed. That hand-laid Bell & Carlson fiberglass stock features a full aluminum bedding block that remains structurally stable from -50 degrees to +140 degrees Fahrenheit, soaking up the vibration and keeping the barrel perfectly free-floated. It sends big magnums downrange with unyielding consistency, proving exactly why this action has been trusted against dangerous game for generations. The total invoice on this legendary setup is a very reasonable $1,600. It does not fold in half, it does not use aerospace titanium, but it will absolutely never fail you when your life is on the line in the backcountry. Look, the European monopoly is officially over. These 7 American platforms prove that you do not need to overpay for a legacy name when you can get superior aerospace materials, unmatched modularity, and bulletproof reliability built right here at home. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.